Good evening.
Ooh.
Welcome to Tuesday, July 27th, 2021 regular Selectmen's meeting. The Selectmen met earlier today at 4:30, and we did our call to order and roll call and the Pledge of Allegiance. And then we went into an executive session. We came out of the executive session at 6:15 and took a recess until now. So as of right now we are opening the meeting, having the meeting public. First order would be approval of July 13th minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
Second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor? 5-0. Thank you. We have our first public comment. Is there public comment from the board? For the board? No, there is none. We'll move on. Is public hearing. is public hearing approval. Okay, I see what we did now. Okay. Public hearing, then the slash approval. Is first order we have is an administrative consent for Jordan Kelker of 26 Mountain View Road. We have a history for that anywhere?
Jen, she's new.
Jen, are you there? Hello, Jen?
Sorry guys, I was muted. How's everyone doing?
Good, how are you?
How you doing? We're discussing the administrative consent. Can you explain that a little bit?
Sure, so the version approved for setbacks on any building is required by the homeowner. A bank went out and surveyed the property and found the foundation to be 6 feet, 6 inches off the property line, which doesn't obviously match our land use ordinance, so they are going for administrative consent. They, if it's approved by you guys, they will pay the fine and the town will write them a letter saying that we observed the setback and we are okay with it. That's basically it.
Any questions for Jennifer? Any questions in general?
No, it seems like they wrote a letter explaining that the
Yep.
contractor made the mistake and that they understand what's going on. And I mean, I mean it is 10% off, but I doubt with the walking eye you could tell that it's too close to the property line. So I don't think there's any issue with approving it.
I also know the neighborhood, so I don't think the neighbors are gonna complain too much, so. All right, I'm looking for a motion to approve it with the caveat of that the town manager be approved to sign this. We have a motion?
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. And now we have the remote public meeting attendance policy. We've had that presented to us before. Were there any other changes to it?
No, we just have to have a public hearing according to the state. So this is the public hearing for it. No one's here to comment, so you guys can just adopt it if you'd like.
Is any questions from the board for anything?
This is the same as we prepared before, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no changes.
Yep. All right. If there are
Just
no,
one question about this violation, right? I'm back at how long was he in violation?
Who's that?
Kelka.
oh, you're going back to the
Yeah, I want to just,
previous
how
one.
long was he in violation?
I don't know.
This year?
I can speak to it. It was just the contractor did the work and they put the foundation in. We were only tipped off after they did the mortgage inspection, I think Jen said.
So the house is built.
Yeah, the house is built.
So where did we go wrong there?
It was the contractor that went wrong.
Right, so we never went out when the foundation was in and measured it?
Uh,
The distance from the street to wherever the boundary or whatever?
I think it was probably after the foundation was put in. I don't know the exact timing of it.
Okay, so we, basically
When
screw
was
up
the
in
house
town-
built?
Screw up in town hall.
This year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
all right.
thanks.
Yeah, because the town wouldn't know, we don't know where the property lines are necessarily. There isn't always a survey. So it's not the town's responsibility to know where the property line is.
No,
It's on the
but
contractor.
Right.
be held to pay if, a guy got a house built and he couldn't,
I see,
Well,
well,
that is the alternate. If we
If we
say
can
no
move-
to the
Right.
letter,
Right.
we say
So you're-
you have to tear down the house and move it over
Right,
6
exactly.
feet.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
just a point of order, that was the past. We have something on our plate right now with the remote
Yep,
attendance
good. Yep,
policy, so that's what we need to deal with.
yep, go ahead.
So, all right, so do we have a motion to accept as presented?
Yep, motion in a second, you already have.
No,
No.
this
No.
one.
No.
Okay, not that one, okay.
I move that we accept the remote public meeting attendance policy as presented.
We have
I'll
a
second.
vote in a second. Any, motion in a second. Any further discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And that will close public session, or public hearings. Correct? There's that one. All right. We have no reports of committees, no department reports. We do have an appointment for Steve Langelia to the Board of Appeals. Steve, are you there?
Sam.
Hello, Steve. Oh, here he comes.
Here he is.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Not
How
too
you
bad,
doing,
yourself?
I'm doing well.
So is you want to be appointed to the Board of Appeals? Tell us why.
So I grew up in the Berwicks. I graduated from Noble High School. I've been interested in getting a little bit more involved in the town, but figured this would be a good step to start. I am a firefighter paramedic for the city of Sanford. I'm also a certified home inspector for the state of Maine, and I run a small business in town. So I think with those trainings that I have and my experiences with my lines of work, I think I could be useful to the board.
Any questions for Steve?
What small business do you run?
A home inspection business.
Okay.
You don't see any conflict between a home inspection business and the planning board?
Not the planning board.
The Appeals
Appeals
Board.
board, or the appeals board.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it is, on that line is, we have real estate agents on the planning board, we have contractors on the planning board, we can't, they just have to understand that if there's anything that affects them personally, financially, they have to recuse themselves.
Okay.
So,
Which is the same thing on this board.
right, right,
On any
so,
board, yeah.
right, so.
Okay.
Any further questions for Steve?
No.
No.
Do we have a motion to appoint?
I'll make a motion that we appoint Steve as
Second
chair.
it?
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you,
stepping up,
Steve.
Steve.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Welcome aboard.
yeah, we need more people like you.
Yeah. For sure.
Thank you.
The appeals board only meets like once a month.
Good night,
doesn't it?
Steve.
Quarterly usually.
Yeah, it's not even once a month.
Yeah. Next, we have the presentation from James Bellissimo for the changes to the land use ordinance for November 2nd, 2021.
Good evening, everyone. My name is James. I'm the town planner. Tonight, I'm going over what the plan would be is 2 separate warrant articles. One for what I would call significant marijuana amendments, and then a second one for the other kind of more boring amendments. So the first set I'll go over are the significant marijuana amendments. And these come at the request of Jody Rogers of 420 Portland Street. 420 Portland Street is a building that has been cultivating marijuana under agriculture, which is what happened was they were permitted under agriculture from the code enforcement officer before we put marijuana in our land use ordinance. So that happened 2017, 2018 when the state changed their laws. So they were permitted without planning board review. So this amendment would allow the planning board to review that, but also would allow them to cultivate for adult use and to have an adult use storefront. I'll make another note here that while we're increasing the cap, the language at the time was the number of conditional use permits granted in each zone as of June 9, 2020 shall be the limit of permits granted in each zone. At the time, Ms. Rogers at 420 Portland Street was in line to meet that cap, to be part of that initial cap. And then it was found kind of late in the project after she submitted a site plan that her project is in a shoreland zone. So the way that happens is we have our base zone, which is over here and here, and then we have a shoreline overlay. And there's a stream next to her property, and there's a 250-foot buffer to her property, which encapsulates the entire property. So as of right now, she has it was an old airline hangar, really giant warehouse that is pretty hamstrung at the moment.
At Route 4, on Route 4?
On Route 4.
Where Route 4?
It's the building that has the Tyvek in the front.
Oh, Billy Reno's building, yep,
No,
yep.
I don't think it's
It was his old building.
Yeah, I don't think he sold it. I think they're renting it, but either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got the next to
Yeah,
the dog daycare.
Yeah.
Because they were in the middle of rehabbing it, and then found out they have a zoning issue. So their property's kind of in limbo at the moment. So there's a couple of changes that are required in the way that the town protects itself from unintended consequences. Our section 8.25 deals with marijuana, where if the town voted for it, it would allow it to be in the LR zone, but it has to have the base frontage on the rural commercial industrial zone. It has to be on Route 4. And then the other change is increasing the cap, where right now we have 5 adult storefronts, 2 medical stores, and 6 adult use production facilities. There's a storefront off Route 236, and the rest of them are on Route 4. A lot of these are combined, so Trican and Kind Farms have a medical storefront, adult storefront, and production.
Where's the one on 236?
That is
It used to be Big
So,
Dog Garage or something.
Pitbull
Pitbull Garage, down by where the fire chief lives. It's a
That two-bay garage, that's what that is?
the older one next
Yeah.
to, yeah.
Yeah, so that's now
They
marijuana.
have the permit to do it, but they haven't opened anything there.
Right, they're
Correct?
doing the inside of the building right now.
Right.
Yep, no way, yep.
Yeah.
So, this person, we're, if I'm understanding correctly, is a stretch. This person had basically a conditional permit before we adopted our current set of rules. So the rules then came into place. They were outside of them. We're now fixing the rules to let them back in. But right now, they're not doing anything.
They're cultivating medical
Yeah.
marijuana.
They got
right now.
marijuana growing
Okay.
there. They were the first one in town, if I remember correctly,
They're one
huh?
of the first. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
were
were the
was
first.
Right.
knocking down our door.
Yeah, I remember them coming to the meeting here.
We've been working with Jody for a long time.
Yes, I remember.
So we're essentially making an exception for one individual?
Yeah, you could see it that way. I think it's an unusual request in that way.
It's similar to we recently adopted the town policy of not accepting more roads from developers unless they're connecting roads. But there were a couple of developments that were approved before we adopted that had already been in the plans. They had everything engineered for the town to do that. So what we did, we allowed them to, it's again put to the public, on our warrant article, is whether we want to adopt those roads or not. So it's making it the exception, but making the exception because of the history that was behind it. So, and this here, it's a proposal, and, the public may vote it down. So it's just a matter of whether we're gonna allow it on the warrant articles. So it's not that we're gonna make that decision, the people in town are gonna make that decision. So,
Yeah, and to that point, the planning board is gonna have a public hearing on August 5th. And the feedback from tonight, feedback at the public hearing, these amendments will be back here on August 10th to be finalized.
One way or another.
Yep.
So if this doesn't go through, they're just gonna keep doing medical?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I just wanna make sure I understand the implications, that if this doesn't go through, people aren't going out of business or something,
Yep.
Yep, okay.
That's pretty much where it stands. Right now, they're cultivating medical marijuana, and if they're allowed to, they would be able to do,
They're not selling it there, are they?
they'd want to.
But they're not selling what they're growing right now, are they?
I think it's limited.
Where does it go?
They can sell to patients, but typically it's wholesale to,
So they're a wholesale marijuana grower.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So just looking at the amendment real quick, so it looks like it's just really broadening it a little bit. Where does that put us in line as a town versus the rest of the state?
In York County, it puts us, we're the most that have opted in for adult use. But we're one of two that have actually dealt with this issue. If you look around York County, if you look at the councils and the select board meetings right now, they're dealing with this right
Yeah,
now.
but they're
Yeah,
putting
no,
it off and
absolutely.
they get moratoriums. Yeah, you're exactly right.
And I mean, yeah, it's quite a bit. I think we've done a good job with the zoning and where we're at, and I feel like we're finally getting to the point where we're kind of at a different phase of this, where we're kind of managing it. We have licensing. You guys will see the licensing come up where if there's odor control issues or nuisance issues or security issues, it's kind of they'll be back here to ask for licenses every year.
Well, also, what I feel
We charge
like,
them $3,000
what I feel like
Keep
this
every license whether it's
is
growing
like,
or retail.
back when we had discussed
For free.
capping the limit on the licenses and stuff like that, one of the reasons that we discussed that was that we wanted to get a handle and make sure we understood what we were doing with what was coming in already. And I feel like this is just the effect of that we are, this is the cleanup of making sure that all the
Yeah.
licenses that we already
Yeah.
had agreed to,
Yeah.
this is the cleanup to fix those situations so we can see where we stand as a whole town and, and see if we want to have any more or less or whatever.
and, the planning board and James have done a really good job of, changing the regulations as to what the people want. Every time they get pushback on things is they come up with, tightening the regulations and restricting it. So we really have been out front with this, and and as I said, is our decision today is just whether to allow this on, the warrant. So it's going to be up to whoever's doing it to make their arguments. So.
So how many licenses do we have out there right now?
Let's see. So there's about 16 licenses. So it's about $50,000 in license revenue.
That's the licensing.
But I can basically
growers,
get up in the
sellers.
morning and decide I need a joint, and I can walk down to it. So it's not a far walk either. And if that's not open, there's another one a couple hundred feet down the road. So there's plenty around to pick from.
I
That's
know.
what I get a kick
So
out of.
there's 16 licenses in the town of Berwick, and I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly, to grow and sell marijuana here in town.
Yeah.
But
Some
some
of
of those are also doubled up, as he was saying, that like they have both a grow license and a retail license.
Right.
Okay.
So it's not.
So how
that we
many
have-
businesses are there?
It's probably, off the top of my head, maybe 7 or 8 or 9, in that range.
So we have 8 or 9 separate businesses, owners,
Yeah.
that have them, but some of those owners may have 2 licenses
Yep.
for different
Sometimes
things.
3.
Sometimes 3 because
Sometimes 3, yeah.
the grow, the
Sometimes
medical, and the
recreational.
recreational.
Okay,
Yep.
so by granting this goes on the warrant and the town approves it, this person already exists, it would just be giving them an additional license.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be adding another business?
No, no,
Okay,
no.
all right.
Yeah, you'd be,
It'd be another one you can walk to, Mark.
Yeah, it's
Just like
unbelievable
adding-
how handy they are now. Better than the beer store.
Jeez,
be adding two
Unbelievable.
licenses.
okay.
The medical
So it's not another new business, it's just an additional license
Right.
for the same
Hey
business?
James, who went in who bought the kindergarten there? What's it called? Montessori school there in the kindergarten?
It was the,
Cindy Doucette.
Cantwell, yeah, Doucette and Cantwell.
Oh, Cindy, they're gonna open.
They're gonna open up a big salon,
Oh yeah, they're
kitchen
good.
thing
Yeah,
in there.
yeah,
Yep.
they're good people. Yep,
Yep.
yep, good,
Yep, they
Yeah,
bought
they're through
that.
planning board already.
good.
They did a good job. Yeah, the other, so that, it's funny, we'll segue into the second warrant article, which is, so there's marijuana home occupations, which will probably, might surprise you. We have, so people can, under their caregiver license, they can operate businesses out of their home. And when we first adopted it, and this was back when 2017, the state laws changed every 6 months. At the time, our ordinance allowed marijuana home caregivers, just no permit, they were just allowed to do it. And over time, we've put in, we're like, all right, that's kind of crazy. So we put in, they're required to get a home occupation permit, just as any other home occupation permit. But now, what these changes are, we're kind of putting in, we've developed standards for the marijuana establishments like we were just talking about. And this really tightens up, it's a first step, I think, tightening up.
I thought it was James when you explaining that. I thought that you could grow it at home, but you could only have so many
Yep.
people you grew for.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Is that still the case?
You can either grow for so many patients, or you can grow under what's called a canopy. So you can do 500 square feet of cultivation space
For home doing it, and you,
per home, yeah.
that's so it's more than that. And I didn't realize
Quite a
that's how it
bit.
was.
500 square feet is.
It ends
I'm
up,
gonna get a home occupation.
There you go.
yeah, it ends up
smokes.
being more than
That's my retirement job.
36 flowering plants.
So we're removing the line greater traffic. Was that from what came up from the Board of Appeals a couple months ago? Is that how we found that out?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So the number 2 is removing greater traffic than normal for the area. That's a subjective standard. We don't really know how to determine the general traffic for the area. And I specifies 20 trips per day, and that's a concrete standard,
Okay.
so it just clarifies that.
How did we end up with a bakery on Ridland Road?
So they are only you can cultivate and you can create, you can do edibles, but you can't.
That's what they do, is they make it edibles. There.
Yeah,
I couldn't see, that thing's like, it should be in an industrial park. The people there
It should be, yes.
You know what I'm like, give me a
My
break.
opinion.
How
Be careful.
how does that happen? And how can we stop that from happening again? Like the one on Pond Road. That's something else that should not have happened.
right.
It just, to me, we keep making those mistakes. There's one on Pond Road where the new building is 50 feet behind the house, the lady's house.
So the way that we have it now is that that wouldn't have been allowed on Pond Road. So we put the language in that they have to have frontage on Route 4.
That's something we voted in June. So as I said, it's all new to everybody, so they're being very proactive. As soon as they find out, what they perceive as a problem, they look for the solution to prevent it from happening again.
Right, so, but we still have these, and the people come and they,
I can, and just to further protect us, we can add in a 100-foot setback, or it has to be completely screened, or I'd be happy to.
it should be.
You know what I mean? Like,
I see, yeah, go ahead,
whether
I think
it's
that's a good
75
idea.
feet from any residence, or it
How
has-
many?
75 feet.
I mean,
Yeah,
I could smell it halfway up Blackberry Hill Road some nights. So I mean, either way.
75
well,
feet isn't gonna
that's
matter.
not the pot shop. That's your neighbors.
That's the one on Route 9.
No, at the piggyback time, I think he's right. James and the planning board have done a great job. I really think bringing every issue that's come up and doing it. And some of this is, look, it goes back to us as residents and voters to understand what we're voting on and what they're voting on, and coming out and speaking at whether it's at a board meeting or at a planning board meeting and being there, because, I will tell you guys, watching in and looking at it, I really do think the planning board does try to address this in every way that
Oh, yeah.
it comes up in what they do.
yeah.
And really what's there is because of what we voted on and saying it's okay in the town. At the bottom line, it's us as voters that have allowed this, not just the planning board or a select board or the residents in Acton.
Right.
And I just see this as growing pains.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
These are all the problems that every town is going to have to go through to figure this stuff out. There's always going to be some loophole or some gap in the land use ordinance or in the policy that we're going to have to fill. But that's just par for the
But
course.
shouldn't we put a hold on it until we can fill it? So we can't give someone a permit because, well, we're gonna,
Well, we did put a cap on it.
Yeah.
on any more new ones, right?
Yeah.
So we can't be changing rules until, we can't, because we don't have it in the book. Someone can't just go do something. We make sure it's right to begin with.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll put it on the record, I would be extremely surprised if I'm back here asking for another increase to a storefront. I just, maybe this is speculative at this point, but maybe we look at the cultivation facilities and go, we don't have any issues, there's no other issues. They average about a 250,000 to 300,000 per cultivation facility of assessed value. Maybe we look at increasing that, but we don't need any more storefronts.
Well, it's gonna be like, the drugstores. There's gonna be one on every corner until they drive the other one out.
Well, as soon as
The other drugstores are gonna end up buying them.
As soon as the federal government steps in and
Okay.
decriminalizes, the big companies are going to come in and take over. It's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
happen.
But you're
But
not
when
supposed
that
to be,
happens, we're not, I mean, we already have, you just said 8 or 9 in the town of Berwick. We don't have a cap?
yeah,
we do.
we're moratorium right now.
Whatever,
A moratorium,
whatever
right.
was there is the cap until we
Decide to
lift the
change
cap.
it.
Okay.
So there's not, people have to keep coming in yearly for their licenses and stuff like that. And we can approve or deny, but there's can't be more than that, more than already exists without our say so.
Say so.
And I don't take coming in front of you guys to present this, I don't take this lightly. I probably, since we put the cap in, I probably got at least 75 inquiries about the cap and is it changing? And I'm like, no, probably not. We talk about it every year, and this is just a special circumstance where it's a non-conforming use, and they're kind of an ongoing application, but after a certain point, a year passed before we could kind of say it's ongoing. So the only kind of next step would be to increase the cap.
Next.
But what you're saying is, if we did increase the cap, we'd have plenty of people to fill it.
Oh, yeah.
We could charge a pretty good premium on those new spaces.
Yeah, you could make a big industrial park and a
Yeah, you
big
could
park
do
place.
that, but, I mean, do you really want to be known as the capital
We already are.
of, yeah.
Capital of what?
Well,
Of good economic planning?
Well, people talk about it, and stuff, but if you talk to the chief of police, he will say there is absolutely no problems with any of these facilities. Zero. Said that they have no problems whatsoever.
In my morning walks, he's right. I don't see anything there in the morning that's going wrong.
And they actually think that it helps with letting them focus on the more important drugs
Right,
and
right.
stuff. So they review every license, they review every site plan, they go through everything, they work with the people to develop their security, and said occasionally they have an inadvertent alarm, but that's it. They never have any problems.
And the people that are in town doing it, they're very professional. I've been taken back by that since we started, but they're very professional. They know what they're doing. They don't use it. All sorts of stuff. And they're secure.
So
I've had that no change.
Yeah, in terms of your county, we're probably up there with Elliott, but I mean, we can't compete with Cumberland County. I mean, we'll never be the pot capital of Maine. Cumberland County's got
Because, yeah, I know.
yeah.
All right. I'm happy to talk about it. I'll be here plenty of times to talk about this.
Next.
Number 3 is much more simple. By just eliminating it from our land use table, we're adopting the state standards. And by doing that, the state enforces timber harvesting,
And we don't.
and we don't.
Nice.
So
I'm okay with that one.
that's preferable. Oh, another cap. So number 4, the proposal, I'm curious what you folks think. First, it's putting a definition in our land use table. That's kind of the first step to regulating something, you put it in the
Am I missing
definition.
something?
You can have mine.
4.
Why do we want to establish a limit on solar farms?
So we have 5 right now. We got one approved, or one built, another one approved, 2 in the planning stage right now that are going to be approved pretty soon, and then another one in the works. So it works out to being about 15 to 20 acres of farmland or open space that's clear cut, and they put a fence around it. So in terms of our community's goals, I mean, you're going to see a lot of farmland go to solar farms.
So that, I was gonna ask you about that, is all these facilities have a fence around them, correct?
Yep.
So they're, cutting off the roots for the wildlife, the deer and everything, fencing them all out. And, no, that's what I was wondering about. No, I know that there's the one proposed out on Route 9 there, is pretty close to my back land, and it's gonna take a lot of good wildlife area out of the mix. So I don't have a big thing against the solar farms. I wish they made it easier for people to put them on their rooftops, so we wouldn't need these. But how much is a solar farm assessed at?
Great question. The one on 236 is assessed at $700,000, which I have a top 25 of the property taxpayers.
Yeah.
It's on the top 25. It's maybe 23 for property taxpayers.
What do they pay off the top of your head?
So the assessed value is 700. So whatever that.
700,000 by 18.9 or whatever is the mill rate.
19.36.
What do they pay, 150,000 a year?
Don't say that too loud,
Taxes?
Steve.
I'd have to do the math. But I'll get you the math.
What?
135, 140 then,
Yeah.
probably.
So it's a good amount, and then they pay the personal property. We're not sure about yet. We get 50% of whatever it's assessed at, and that's still to be determined. It could be anywhere from 2 million to $1 million. So you could be talking about an assessed value of maybe a million to $1.5 million, 2 million total. But the thing, which is great, which we need that, and I'm all about that. I'm beating that drum right now. We need property taxes, but if you look at the per acre cost, so you divide that by 15 or 20 acres, it's okay. At the expense of disturbing 15 or 20 acres of natural habitat and other costs like that.
It does help us, it does,
It's a
we definitely have a problem with global warming.
Yeah.
And I think that helps. We've landscaped a bunch of them down in Massachusetts because Massachusetts is way ahead of us. Every one we do down there is a buffer. So if I come up to the one on 236, you wouldn't know it was there after they're done. Same thing over in West Kennebunk. Same thing down in Sanford, that big one they put. Everything is buffered. So you can't tell what's there at all. And there's a gate. You can't. And to me, that's the way it should be.
I
I don't
think
encourage it in the right spot.
I think the 236 one will grow up eventually. They put in 100 or so plantings on the side
Yeah.
of it.
But not like it should be.
Yeah,
So
Or not like it should be, but from what I'm accustomed to doing.
it should be completely screened from.
Yeah, screen it, sure. Yep. They got the money.
So that was actually one of the other discussion points. Is either we put a cap on it or we ask them to do more. We make it that it has to be completely screened. But that goes back to the natural habitat part. If we get five of them, that just seems like a lot.
I guess my question is, and I know you're saying 15 to 20 acres. What are we classifying a solar farm at? Like what size, at what point does it become a solar farm versus,
and
private residential?
So I worked on that, I think, since I passed it,
Okay.
over a 0.5 megawatt.
Okay.
So if people still want to do smaller scale stuff for their house, they'd still be able to. And that's kind of a starting point, but I think that's probably a good starting point. The solar farms we're seeing are in the range of 1.5 to 2 megawatts.
Yeah, they're pretty good size. They're the ones that are coming up.
I don't have a problem with the solar farms in particular. I mean, and I don't think there should be a cap. I mean, any cap always seems arbitrary, no matter what the cap is. It just feels like, is this too many? Is that too many? I don't know. But do the solar farms have to get like DEP approval? I mean, is it being seen what is being disturbed? What is being?
Yeah, they have to do wildlife studies for species, and vernal pools and all that is part of it. Archaeological in some cases.
So I guess to follow up on Noah, or where Noah was going with that is, if it's going through DEP and the environment's not being impacted, why have to put a limit on it? Or why have to?
I could get my thought would be the larger animals are displaced. Like the smaller animals can get in there, but the larger animals, you're creating a buffer zone where they can't get in.
Well, if it's that big, you can put a pathway for them. You can fence the pathway for them if that's what's going on, right? You put a pathway down the middle of it and fence it, right? Like they just did in 236 at Elliott, right? Saw what they did there?
Yeah.
They put a culvert under the road, a big box culvert. They put cameras on either side of it. And they put sensors they trap all the animals. They put sensor on every animal. They take pictures and they can tell when it comes and when it goes, right back and forth. It's pretty neat. The same thing can be done there if it's work, and it can be. We decide if that's a good spot to have one. You know what I'm saying? If they want to put one over here, no. You want to put one over there? I think we should have that freedom to say that's a good spot.
Kind of like limiting where we put them, much like the pot dispensaries and things like that.
Right.
We can control what locations that we want them in, so they're centralized.
Is one of the things they'll only be put on the roads with
Three-phase
power.
Three-phase power.
So
Yeah. That's what they're doing by me. They're running three-phase from my office down to the solar farm that's going in behind Great Works. Right? That's all that's happening to them. They said you need to have three-phase down there. They didn't have it.
Wow.
And that's what's going on.
It's quite the run down Coppin Lane.
Unbelievable, huh? Have you been down there?
No.
It's unbelievable, James.
That one's in North Berwick.
So.
Yeah.
That one's in North Berwick?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, just on the border. So I can come back with, maybe we just say that it has to be completely screened and look at location requirements. We can do that. Because that was really the options, whether kind of put a cap on it or just make it more stringent.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would feel more comfortable trying to maybe look at how we put up a solar farm versus limiting the number, at least at this point. I mean, I think there's a lot of merit to solar, and
the other option
and
too
I'd be
could be maybe
cautious.
we say if there's 5, we say we'll allow 7 or something like that. My only concern and what happened with marijuana is it was kind of stable and then it just blew up, and then you're 4 months away from an election where you can't do anything until they. So that's.
I get it.
No,
I'm with you.
And when we talk about solar farms and stuff, is the town of Berwick is actually benefiting from the one on 236 because we signed the power purchase agreement with them, and we're saving what 15%.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think each solar farm can run like 600 to 800 homes in a year.
So.
Produces the power. So.
Depends how big they are, but yeah,
Right, yeah.
that's small.
So.
Well, thanks. That's all I got.
Thanks, James.
All right, thank
All right,
you.
thank you, James.
Good job.
All right, let's see, where were we? Here we go. We have anything under unfinished business? Is town manager report.
I have several things. Just the water drilling update. They were up on Ridland Road on Monday, and hopefully they get up to Pine Hill, that area, to do their final. They haven't had much luck, from what I'm hearing, on Rochester and Hubbard Road. So we'll hope they do a little bit better in Ridland. Otherwise, when I have a final report, I'll get it out to you so you get to see what they have. The bond for the water department is finalized. This money will be transferred tomorrow into a separate account, so we can start paying out of that and reimburse ourselves for some of the expenses we've had already from last year. The credit enhancement agreement we have for Great Falls. We got notification today from DECD that has been approved, which is perfect. So everything is set on that one, which is real nice. Farmers Market, just to give you an update on that, they have decided to separate from the town. They have filed for their 501(c) status. They have bank accounts set up, and we will be transferring their money from our account into theirs, which is not taxpayer money, it's just what they collect when they do that. Recreation, because of the covert and increases in the region, Recreation Department will be putting out a memo stating that all staff and participants in our recreation program will have to wear masks from starting Wednesday. It's just going out of control. Real nice thing today, I've never seen this in any town I've worked in, is I got a letter today, an email from the superintendent of schools, and they received a federal funds, $1,250,080, and their board of directors voted to put that towards reducing their costs. So we have a benefit for that. We should reduce our taxes, which is, I thought,
It's awesome.
That's
really awesome. I thanked them and said, good job, and thanked them.
Now,
very
that goes a
much.
long way.
Yeah.
It
Goes
really
a long
does.
way.
Was that all we get from the federal money that's coming out?
Well,
No,
that's-
that's just through the schools.
That's just for the schools.
That's what I mean, that school only gets $1 million?
1.2. Yeah.
I know, but I would think we'd get more.
Well,
Isn't that
the
1/16
state
of the
gives a
whole
lot of
budget?
money.
Billions of
up front,
dollars.
But this is all from federal funding. So,
Right,
Right.
right.
yeah, we're still waiting on, we have just around 780,000 coming from the state from the covert recovery stuff, but we haven't seen that yet. And we only get 50% of that this year, and we'll get the 50%
Next year.
Sure.
So we'll be able to spend it on some projects that we haven't been able to do. Always, never enough, but it will help. What else do I have? I think that's it. I have a couple of things that I gave to Tom. We have 2 items that we need to vote on for the year end. This will, tomorrow, Lisa's office and the auditor will be analyzing all the paperwork that's coming in to start the audit for the past year. And we just finished one of them is to finalize the brownfield program that we've had. Everything is done. This will take care of that funding. And also, what's the other one? We missed something on the warrant
Yeah.
for the bond payment that we pay 50% of a bond that the water department has.
Yep.
There's not many, I think it finishes up in 2026,
26.
but we always pay 50%, and somehow it got missed on the annual warrant. So auditors say that you can vote, and we'll just take that from the general fund to pay 50% of that, so,
Bring that up under new business.
okay.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay. Let's see, unfinished business, Selectmen's communications. We have a letter from the governor. The letter is July 14th, I'm just getting it now, but it says, on behalf of the citizens of Maine, I write this letter in recognition of National Parks and Recreation Month, which is recognized during the month of July. So, good to,
Yeah.
we get it on the 27th. It talks about Parks and Recreation Month is a wonderful opportunity to celebrate the achievements of park recreation agencies across the country. Parks protect our natural environment and open spaces for the enjoyment of all members of the community now and in the future. These green spaces further benefit human health by reducing greenhouse gas emissions, increasing biodiversity, and improving ecosystem function and reducing the impacts of flooding and cooling. It goes on as such. And it says, as Governor, I thank the Recreation and Park staff, agencies, organizations, volunteers across our state who are doing the hard work of maintaining the local parks and recreation facilities for all to enjoy.
So we haven't, they didn't send us a check along with it, huh?
No,
Just to add to that, the feasibility study has been completed, and Owen will be coming before you with that, and it is so thorough, it's scary.
like
It's so
300 pages or
300
something?
pages.
Feasibility
Mark,
study?
you'll love it, because it's all about soils and grass and growth.
I mean, just while we're on it, I mean, I would say Angela's doing a great job of trying to really like get something established for Parks and Rec officially, and it's really nice to see coming along, and
Yeah,
excited to
it's
see
come
what she's
a
got
long way.
coming. Really excited to see what she's got coming down the road too.
Yep.
So
How do we make out with that land by the ballpark?
I was going to talk about that in just a
Okay,
minute.
yeah, go ahead.
Is is Mark brought up is we've been negotiating with Melissa and Jim Cormier for, well, actually, I first talked to them about 7 years ago. But is they own land adjacent to the recreation field, and we've been talking back and forth, and we came to an agreement to buy 3 acres next to the field. This is all being paid through the impact fees, so it's no taxpayer money. And we talked about buying some more, but we didn't want to deplete all the funds we had in those accounts. And so
What did you end up paying an acre?
33,000.
They were asking, what, 40?
We were asking 45.
45, yeah.
Yeah. I hated to pay that money, but we don't often get an opportunity to buy land next to a recreation facility. And like I said, it was paid for with impact fees, and as we have further development, more money will be coming in, and that money will be used to rehabilitate the land and to work with it. The plan is that they're going to reposition the soccer fields and have 2 soccer fields instead of the 1, and plus still have land for walking trails and other recreation facilities there. So that works out really well. And talking about recreation is the baseball team, the U11s.
U12.
U12.
U12
Right, yeah.
is they are going to the World Series in Florida. I believe it's the first time that a team from Maine has gone to the World Series.
Yeah, that's good.
They're doing a fundraiser. They have a GoFundMe page. I was told that they need to raise about $38,000 for this. I meant to talk to you earlier about that, Steve. Is it appropriate for the town to appropriate any money towards that?
Well, you appropriate money for special purposes annually. It's up to you. You can take it out of contingency if you'd like to do that. Usually the voters have it on the warrant and okay it. They always support it. So it's up to you if you want to take it out of contingency.
What kind of money are you thinking about, Tom?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how much money is in contingency. It's like I said, I don't know what the appropriate action would be. So
Yeah, I'll have to look into that because I don't really know what a gift would be towards that. But I think it would be good.
Make a statement.
right.
We're
support
supporting
it.
support you. Yeah, no,
Right.
make a good statement.
They run a good program, and kids are intense
Yep.
about playing baseball.
Oh, yeah.
So
A
Oh,
good
that's
group.
good.
all right. So that brings us to our account payable.
Well, Tom, when does that money, when do they have to raise the money by?
I don't know.
I'll have something for you for the first meeting of August. I think they're going in October or something, maybe earlier.
They leave. I think they leave in the end of August, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can do something the first meeting of August.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact time frame, but
I was told, but I don't remember.
we talked to Jen McCabe. She knows all
Yeah,
about it.
She was pretty, yeah, she does.
She's pretty jacked up about it. So, all right, we'll go to our account payable. We have a few that go back to last fiscal year, to June. We have account payable warrant 87 for June 30th, 2021 for the amount of $3,092.14. Account payable warrant 86 for June 30th, 2021 for the amount of $6,041.66. We have payroll warrant number 4 for July 22nd of 2021 for the amount of $84,420.70. We have payroll warrant number 5 for July 29th of 2021 for the amount of $82,239.81. And we have an account payable warrant number 6 for July 27th, 2021 for the amount of $231,818.39. I'll make a motion that we pay our bills.
Second it.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Huh?
Thank you. New business. All right, I'll go to what, no, we have from finance first. It says, in fiscal year 2020, Steve mentioned that we, the general fund, we usually vote on
Goes
the
back to-
paying the
this is from
50%
Lisa.
share of the water
Then we're
department
back in
bond, which works out to $21,634. And for the fiscal year 2021, the article requesting to raise and appropriate the funds was inadvertently removed from the town meeting warrant. Because I have, Lisa Vargas, consulted with our auditors, and they have recommended we transfer the funds from the general fund to the water department and have the board authorize the transfer of funds to cover the expense. So she'd like to have us make a motion to transfer the money of $21,634 from the general fund into the water department. Any questions?
And ultimately, it's money we owe on the bond, so, right?
What's that?
It's money we owe on the bond, right?
Yeah,
Right.
it
Yeah,
is.
so, I mean,
Yeah.
Never quite sure why we have to vote once we approve the bond. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You gotta pay it, so.
Yeah.
Formality,
so-
I'll make a motion that we transfer the money from the general fund into pay the bond.
and I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. And the second one was, after consulting with our auditors and per our original agreement with Fund of Jupiter for the prime Tanning site taxes, please vote to write off $45,953.43 to overlay and taxes receivable. This will finalize the prime tanning Fund of Jupiter brownfield grant transactions. Do you have any further explanations of
It's
that?
just a closure. They set it up originally that he had back taxes that were owed, and normally, because it's uncollectible, you were gonna write it off, but instead, it was set up so he would pay that, use that funding that was owed to pay the matching funds for the bonds, which was over $2 million in terms of what we collected, and we paid 20% towards that. So this is just a shuffle of money for the auditor, so it closes out that whole process.
Any questions of Steve? No? Do we have a motion?
I move we close out the account.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Thank you.
All right, and then that brings us to Maine Municipal Association Annual Election for Vice President and Executive Committee.
This already again? I feel like we just passed this.
Yeah. Well, we had, no, it was a different MMA one. That was the Legislative Policy
That was
Committee.
the Legislative Policy Committee.
So-
This is for
so-
the Executive Committee.
Yeah, so this is the Vice President and Executive Committee is they have a Vice President, a one-year term, and one person running.
Yep.
They have an Executive Committee, 3 members with a 3-year term, and they have 3 people running. So,
A lot of options.
yeah, unless somebody else wants to, no, actually, they don't allow for write-ins. Is,
I think they kind of tied the hands there, then, didn't they?
Well,
That works out
we can either vote to
abstain.
accept it or not accept it. Those are our two options. So Elaine Allows is Chair of the Select Board of the Town of Solon for the Vice President. And then for the Executive Committee members, we have David Sear, Town Manager of Frenchville, Melissa Doan, Town Manager of the Town of Bradley, and Justin Poria, Town Manager and Town Administrator of the Town of Shabig Island. So I will entertain a motion to vote for the slate.
Moved.
There's a
Seconded.
second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Okay, that take care of that and that.
Isn't that the definition of an autocracy, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's the
Here's your choice.
definition of, it's the definition of not having many people running.
And if you, they always give you options, right? Anybody who would like to serve on the executive
Yes.
committee, just let me know as next manager and you will sign you up.
Yes, believe me, they will be more than happy. Okay, so we have no abatements, no quitclaim deeds, no second public comment.
Can I make a comment real quick?
Of course, we do have a public comment.
I just wanted to give a shout out to Envision Berwick for the work that was done for Open Farm Day.
Oh, that was amazing.
There was 5 farms. I only got to make one of them. I got some pictures taken with my son and wife, some baby goats. But you could tell it was just a special day. Through the pouring rain, from the first event I heard they had cars lining.
Oh, it was amazing.
So congrats for that event, and
Yeah.
we're gonna start planning for the concert series for 2022. So Envision Berwick meets on the 3rd Tuesday of the month at 6 o'clock. Email Jeremy at envisionberwick@gmail.com to work on cool projects like that. So again, congrats on the event. It was awesome.
I'll comment on the farm day. I didn't go, but Terry and Ralph went with BCTV, and even on Sunday with the pouring rain, they said that there was often 70 people.
Yeah.
at the
Awesome.
events. It was amazing.
Yeah, I
That's
see
great.
that.
So,
That's great.
we do not need an executive session afterwards. So, any other business before we leave?
Not me.
No? Going once, going twice? Motion to adjourn?
You got it.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you, everybody.
James, how about the Motor Booty Band?